I really like Stephen Bartlett, and he has a podcast that's been very successful called Diary of a CEO, I think it is. And I don't usually spend a lot of time in social media feeds, but every once in a while I go in just to see what's going on. And he had a program on what's going on because people are confused and don't understand, um, because there's so much change happening. So the conversation was, we're going to get to the heart of this with three experts. And he had his panel. And I love Stephen Bartlett because he starts it by saying, well, I don't know. Let's talk about it. And I couldn't, I lasted about 10 minutes and then I just dropped off. I'm like, I can't listen to this conversation. It's not making any sense to me. And I looked at YouTube and I started reading the comments and I thought, yep, here we go again. And I think Steven's doing the right thing. And then what happened is it swirled into a morass of opinions. And the minute that happens, the projections come out and other people's opinions come out, and the divide begins in the comment feed. So I started reading the comment feed and I saw the divide in the comment feed. And then I added to the divide because of the way I phrased my comment. And I thought, oh, I don't want to do that. So I put in another comment. I had to think a little harder. I knew what I wanted to say, but I didn't say it in a way that would be understood. And perhaps my new comment wasn't any better. I don't know. It doesn't matter because I know what I meant. What's next for the marketing and social media economy? It's going to be interesting. I think we kind of know what's next. I think we all know what's coming. And the version of that shows up in your life is your work. That's up to you. What's coming? Well, we have an insecure technology, banking, and social media infrastructure globally. That's what we have. Anybody disagree? Put your opinion in the comments. And I'll ignore it. Now, I won't ignore it. I'll just ask you, why do you think it's secure? I'm curious. Do you want it to be secure? Is that why? Are you afraid? Maybe that's why. That was my comment. The division between fear and certainty. Well, that's a division. I don't want to see society divide into two groups, those who are struggling with fear and can't overcome it, and those who have a sense of inner knowing certainty because they've been doing the work long enough where they have inner knowing certainty. That's another divide. And that's why I didn't retract my comment, because it was fine, because it was what I was feeling and thinking when I made it. But I redid it by doing another one. It's another divide. Those in the know, knowing this through a lifetime sometimes of inner work, and those who haven't done that work, but have maybe succeeded a lot in the world and gotten to hierarchically high positions of authority and are seen as authorities in their markets. The idea of the divide there is just, to me, now I realized, see, I got to this insight myself, another divide. They're all divides. That's the point. So it starts with what's real. Well, I don't know what you see. What I see is an insecure technology, banking, and social media infrastructure that we have built a global economy on top of. Does my opinion about that matter? No. Does your opinion about that matter? No. Does anybody's opinion about anything matter? I would say no, doesn't. Well, that's a radical thought because it's too simple. And the question then is, what kind of life do I want to have? How can I make a contribution to this problem, which I don't see as a problem? for someone who does see it as a problem, for them, it is a problem. It is not my job to tell them that's not a problem. For them, it's a problem. And that's their perspective, and it's fine. Others see it as an opportunity, and they're trying to figure out within this, how do I thrive personally? That's what they're thinking. How do I enjoy my life more? In the context of a broken, insecure technology, banking, and social media infrastructure economy that we build an entire economy on globally. I'm not going to worry about that. They're thinking. I'm going to think about myself, and I'm going to think about, how do I find opportunity in this? How do I enjoy my life within what I have to make the best of this for me? And how do I find meaning and purpose for myself? Now, that doesn't work for me, but if someone is there, that works for them. And that's where they are. It is insane for me to have an opinion about that. It's not necessary, useful, helpful, or even real, because how do I know? I don't know. No matter how much I know them, I will never truly know the answer to that question. For them, what do I need to do? I need to know what matters to me. And I need to know, and this is essential, is how do I get what I want on my own terms without compromising anything? In this environment of an insecure technology, banking, and social media infrastructure, how do I not make that my problem? That's how I see it personally. Now, you may or may not disagree with that. And if you are agreeing or disagreeing, you're missing the point completely. This isn't my opinion. This is my life. I am sharing my life experience through observations and my own experience with you, not my opinion. My intent and my impact is all that matters. My intent, dogs, sorry. Why do we get two dogs? One dog's okay. Two cats is good. Two dogs, that's a whole thing. I was thinking about hierarchy today and watching the dogs, and that's a whole nother conversation. What do I want? Put family first. Do not compromise my vision for anyone, ever, under any circumstances, no matter what, period, ever, and get known on my own terms, not yours, and not those terms that have been sold to me by people who created and are profiting from and benefiting from this insecure technology, banking, and social media infrastructure. That's my decision, not yours. I do not ask you to make that decision. It is not my opinion. This is what I'm doing every day. My thoughts, my actions, and the impact I make are mine 100%. I am 100% responsible for my own life, not you. And I am 100% not responsible for your life. What a relief. So I don't have to have an opinion about it. Putting family first, I'm reading my thing now. Try to stay organized. Putting family first, not compromising vision, and getting known on your terms is not easy. It's important for entrepreneurs, coaches, and service providers to find their own ways forward. Own ways forward. How do you do that if there's no form, structure, or direction or pathway? How much of a pathway, form, direction, or structure do you need is the question. And that's important for you to answer. For some people, it's a lot. I have no idea. I'm totally confused and I'm tired of spinning in circles. You need a lot of form and structure to get out of that, or you need none to get out of it. All you need is a simple decision. So week one's decision. So this is part of a podcast series. So week one, This is just Red Pill Pathway 8 weeks. This is not even my company. Entrepreneur Experience is my company, brought to you by Red Pill Pathway, which is my private client program, which is integrated with the Entrepreneur Experience. Why did I do that? Is a longer story, but it's because of week 2, keys, which I talked about last week, and 3, this week, direction. From knowing myself in the blueprint of what exists underneath the forms that we see in this contemporary society that we live in, and get stuck in a lot because we miss the underlying structures and forms, or not forms, but underlying structures in this blueprint. I certainly did, and many of you may as well. That's important for direction. And then market. What market am I in? I used the marketing approach for many years. It's called the TAM, Total Addressable Market. I won't go into a whole marketing thing here, but the limitation of that thinking became obvious to me a few years ago. And I don't do it anymore. That's why I don't use marketing. I'm not saying you shouldn't use marketing approaches. I'm saying for me personally, it's not my opinion. I realized the limitation of thinking my market is limited and thinking I'm limited. Error in judgment, not judgment, discernment. So I moved on from that thinking into a different way of thinking through experimental processes in action in the market. There's a point to this. Then who pays me within that market? Clients, customers, doesn't matter what you call them. They give me money and I give them services, products, ideas. In other words, they get something from me. They give me something in return. How does that structured? Depends. If you structure this based on your blueprint and who you are, your life will work. If you don't, you will, like me, go in circles. I don't go in circles. And I don't even think of them as circles anymore. I think of it as learning experiences where I'm adjusting based on what I'm noticing inside myself and in the marketplace. As the market goes in circles, watch your people in your market go in circles. It's you want to win, you want to thrive, you want to make an impact. That's where your opportunities are. And we're going to talk a lot about that. As the market goes in circles, chasing wealth, they're chasing wealth. Investments, they're chasing investment dollars in limited markets from their perspective, and they're chasing valuations using old entrepreneur playbooks from the past. Consider what happens when history no longer repeats itself. The minute I introduce my opinion into that, I create division in the world instantly. Because if someone tries to understand that from their brain, they can't. You only know that from your own experience. And if I introduce something that complex, which I do all the time, into my content, I will create division instantly. Instantly. If anybody's listening, and most people aren't. My average social media, so with video, they do it based on views or I forget what that. I looked at these metrics. I've been looking at them for years, but I don't care anymore. But I get like 20 or 30. That's considered failure by any content marketer standards. I'm an utter failure. I have no concerns at all about that. Back in 2019, 2020, I was getting thousands and thousands and thousands of views and hundreds of comments sometimes. And I was getting almost popular. And then thank God it didn't work out. That's called play your own game. What is your game? That's the key for you to figure out. That's the key for you to figure out. How much form do you need? So I looked at it and I thought, okay, I could have a super secret inner sanctum elite, probably male dominated group of people who don't want to take money from Andreessen Horowitz or Benchmark or any PE firm or any private equity firm of any kind or any venture capitalists or any investors of any kind. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. And then I have to be the coach doing all these things that I can't do, don't want to do, and shouldn't do. I thought, well, this isn't going to work for me. What the hell am I going to do? Well, that came out of a couple of years of being in the market, experimenting with things. And now I know the answer. And it's about the simple one. I'm going to just say it. I'm going to say it again and again and again. For me, it's not about me. This isn't a charity. It doesn't mean that I am not going to make a shit ton of money doing this. I wouldn't do it if I wouldn't. I wouldn't do it. I would say this is a dead end. If there isn't a big bank at the end of it, to me, it's a dead end. However, if it's a big bank that turns me into King Midas or forces me to compromise, and then I have to be a social media celebrity when I don't want to be, it failed too. If I have to become popular on Instagram to make this work, I can't do it. I won't, and I'll go back to my other company. That was my decision, not yours. You make your own decision. Some people are born to be popular on Instagram. They're just born for it. You know those people. It's their destiny. It's in their blueprint. It comes from the blueprint. That's not for me. I tried it and I realized I don't want to do this. So what did I do? I went my own way, made my own content in my own way. And I thought hard about not thinking too much. Overthinking is my disease. I've had many people tell me, you're the most complicated person I've ever met. I said, it takes one to know one. No. What is my enemy? What is your enemy? Ask yourself that. The enemy is within. I am my own worst enemy. My inner battle is the work, and it must be done in the market, hopefully in the right one. This is where we get to market and people. I got 10 minutes. I could do it. Blueprints first. What's next? Market. What is my market if it's not my total addressable market that my mind decides is my market? If I let my mind run my life, I'm going to run off the rails fast. And that's what I felt listening to the guests on Steve Bartlett's program. And I love him. And I'm like, you may have the wrong guests on. And I've listened to all three of them and they're good, but they're talking from their mind's perspective. It's an opinion that's turned into a belief and is now turned into a conviction, held flexibly because they're extremely successful, intelligent people. But I don't want to listen to it because I already know what they're going to say. After a while, I've heard all the opinions. They're just more and more and more. They go into my mind, which gets more and more and more confused if I allow that to happen. The way out of the total addressable market limited thinking playbook, which is necessary, by the way. This isn't bad or good stuff. This is what works for me. Which tool is my tool? What is the TAM? What is the total addressable market strategic thinking process for a business? Why does it exist? There's only one word that explains this completely. It's three letters. CFO. It's for the CFO. Who's the CFO? Writes the checks. The TAM is for the CFO. What's the chief marketing officer? A marketer who's now supposed to act like a CFO. Now I'm gonna get in trouble. There are just many forms of the same thing. The concept is simple. It's if someone puts their money into a business, they need to know what's gonna happen in their own way, in their own language. You're responsible if you take money from somebody to deliver a result for them. That's why they gave you the money. So if you do that, you need a TAM. They want to know. The answer is not, I know, I'm figuring it out. It's inside me. Creation is propelling me forward. The answer is, can I have my money back? As a friend, as one of my new friends, we've been talking for a long time. Bryant Stratton said to me yesterday when we met in Skokie, he said, I've seen a lot of Willy Wonkas. Larry, I hope you're not a Willy Wonka. And I was like, I hope you're right. We worked through it. There's three ways inside the market to think about money. I think this is called flexible founders mode. I'm forming flexible founders mode right now. I already know what it is. Now I have to figure out how to explain it. That's coming next. We've got three models, I think, right now. One is technology founders mode, or you could call it corporate founders mode or big money founders mode. That's the best players of that in the world right now is probably Mark Andreessen Horowitz. And then there's another flavor of it, a company, at least I'm not an expert in this stuff because I don't really care, called Benchmark Capital. That was the other one. But there's PE firms, there's family offices, there's insurance companies. This money's everywhere. What does that money want? More of itself. That's it. Is there a purpose into it? Is there a story? Yeah, of course. But at the end of the day, what does that money want? More of itself. Is there any other metric? The CFO thinking, whoever that is, doesn't matter. It could be the head of security. It doesn't matter. Will there be any other measurement? No. Will there be a time frame? Oh, yeah. There is a time frame. Whether it's told you or not, there is a time frame. I was in a company for 6 months before I got fired after I got them a big deal with a big brand. And my mentor's like, you're set. You got them into Allstate. And I'm like, I don't think so, Jed. I think these people are going to fire me anyways. And they did. They did because they can't think this way. I know that's not sour grapes. I think it's funny. And I got a lot out of working there. A lot. Now I got lost. I'm the most complicated thinker I've ever met because I'm inside myself. There's other complicated thinkers. I'm not the only one. Freedom from that is freedom. Now I can be in the world directly and get what I want within it on my own terms. My mind's the problem. It's not really a problem. It's just understanding the balancing act between all these thoughts and frequencies of emotional currents, as well as creative intelligence and body connection into life energy, and how that has to get balanced every day. Every day. That's my joy to do that because I know how. And that was a lot of work. And the market, okay, and I got to back to the market. Oh yeah, market. So three ways. So you've got the technology money. It's not always technology money, but let's just say money, the money way. The money wants more money. That's a way. If you're going to take their money, negotiate well from the day one and have a good contract, have a good attorney. Second way, social media influence road, popularity contest. Get popular on one of these platforms. That's the second way. That has a very, very serious downside to it you need to be aware of, which is who owns your product. That's the big conversation right now. Oh, TikTok owns my product and my audience and me. And now I'm going to go and do that on Instagram or YouTube. Guess what happens when you do that? You went from TikTok to Meta owning your business and your audience and your brand, or Alphabet. who owns YouTube, owning your audience, brand, and company. You own your company in this case. It depends. Maybe you don't even own your own company, but you definitely don't own your own product, and you don't own your audience. They do. And it's not a matter of whether you get canceled or not, which has happened to me multiple times by these technology companies, as well as millions of other people have been canceled too, million, for all kinds of reasons. It's algorithmic cancellation, but it's worse than that. It's they can change their business. You're just part of their product. Now, if you know how to do that, do it. I think today the influencer game is accomplishment again. It's not just popular for popularity's sake. So Paris Hilton proved that years ago. I don't know when that was, 90s, 2000, I don't remember. But now we've circled back to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan had an accomplishment. People knew who he was before Instagram existed. So if you have an accomplishment, you're an astronaut or whatever, you're going to get big on YouTube fast, but you don't need it because you have a product. The latest round of this is school. So I looked at school and I'm like, if I have a successful school community without an accomplishment, and Sam, and he has a tendency of changing his mind. And Alex, who's invested in it, Hermosi, decides, we don't want to do this anymore. They'll sell it. And they're going to walk away with hundreds of millions of dollars, if not $1 billion. And it's going to collapse then on the heads of those who only can do that. That's a problem. Now, figure it out. You're good. Third way, flexible founders mode. This is my way. It's not my way. It's based on my life experience of doing this everywhere, in every market I can think of, selling virtually every kind of product you can even imagine or recognize over more years than I wanted to. Flexible founders mode. Now, that may include taking money, and it may include becoming popular. What can't it include? Not owning your product. So we had to think hard about this. I had to think hard about this. And I put out a post on this yesterday of who we can't let in this platform that is going to launch soon, big. And these categories are you don't own your product. If you're a social media influencer or you run a school community and all you have is how to do that, I can't let you in because you don't own your own product. And if you want to get out of that or add to it, that's different. But there's, now I'm going to sound like an asshole with an opinion, and I don't want to do that. That's a hard one to explain. I'm working at it. But let me give you a simpler explanation of who else can't come. If you work for New York Life, if you work for, what used to be Aflac, I think that's gone now, but any multi-level marketing system, any system of any kind, affiliate system, ClickFunnels. So if you're a ClickFunnels affiliate, you can't come to our Entrepreneur Experience Campus unless you don't want that to be your primary thing, because you're here for that. You're making money for them. You are part of their product. It's not yours. You're a sales arm of their product. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a good starting thing to learn, and it cuts some of the risk. So it's smart, actually. However, know what it is. It's not smart if you think that's your company. It's Russell Brunson's company. You may have your own company. You incorporated your own company to pay yourself. However, if his thing turns off, you have nothing. So if your thing is how to succeed on ClickFunnels, you can't come to my Entrepreneur Experience Campus because there's a hidden agenda. There's not a hidden agenda. Boy, it's so hard to explain this. I still can't figure out how to explain this in the public. I'm going to have to work more on it. But the fundamental concept is who owns the product. New York Life. New York Life. I got great New York Life stories. They don't own the book or the product or anything except their business. And these people make a lot of money if they're successful. I met a broker when I worked at Gallagher. I was the area vice president of private client insurance for 6 months at Arthur Gallagher. I worked for the area president. Now that's a laugh right there. Area president. What the hell's an area president? It's title inflation. So I met one of their top life insurance salesmen, And he's like, I only have to work 1 day a year. He said, I just don't know what day. He had such a niche, billionaires, tax sheltering with these very complicated financial instruments. And he knew how it worked really well. And it's great watching this. And he's like, I'm set. He says, I just need one sale a year and I'm good. He could not come to my, well, no, he could. Gallagher's a broker. So he's brokering multiple markets. In other words, he owned his product. He worked for Gallagher, used their systems. It worked for everyone involved. The insurance carrier. In other words, his responsibility was to his client. In the financial industry, this is called fiduciary responsibility. So if someone's a financial advisor and they have fiduciary responsibility to their client, not to Fidelity or New York Life or Pacific Life or whoever system they're in as a sales arm, Merrill Lynch, is that still around? I think it's gone, but come. Or if you went out of one of those systems, you can come. But if you're in one of those systems, you're here to sell for that system. And we can't have that. Not because we don't like you. It's just, it's an agenda. And even when made overt, oh, I know why. There's hidden agendas and overt agendas. So the idea is marketing without permission divides people. People are going to run away. And then all the people with money are going to leave. And it's going to be a networking group. I'll have created a networking group of the type I used to go to, where I would sneak in somehow, convincing people I should be there. The only reason I was there was because my client avatar was joining that group. Well, what happens? They leave. And then you have to form an inner secret sanctum group that costs more. I'm like, I'm not doing any of that. So, all right, I'm 2 minutes over. I'm done.